Alright, hello once again. Welcome back. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over for the Rankin Technical College Summer Academic Adventure Academy series website design. I've been going over the Build a Basic HTML5 and CSS3 website written by my colleague at the Rankin St. Louis campus, Brad Lutes. So far we did step 1, where we created a folder called My Website. And inside of that, we created 3 other folders: CSS, Images, and JS. Then we created an index.html file, which had a doc type statement in it, our HTML tags, including our language tag, which said we were using English. We put our head tags in there. We said that the character set we were using was a Unicode character set. We added the title, which we then ran. I changed mine from Brad's projects to Jeff's projects. Then we went in, we were doing all this under brackets. We created a style.css, our cascading style sheet. We linked to that cascading style sheet. We made the background color. I made it green so it stood out a little more than the beige that Brad had mentioned here. I ran the page in Chrome. Okay. Then put in our body tag, where we put in our ID, our div with an ID of wrapper, and we set a lot of properties. For our body, we set the margin to 0, the padding to 0, so there was no margin and was no padding. For our wrapper, we gave it a width of 900 pixels with a minimum height of 800 pixels. We centered it on the page with a margin 0 auto. We made the background white. We gave it a border radius, so rounded corners. Also said to do that to make sure you have that for Mozilla, which is Firefox, and WebKit, which handles both Safari and Chrome. We wanted a border around it, 1 pixel, solid black, and any overflow to be hidden. So ideally it would look like this. Again, I've got the light blue background, so ours looks like this. But you can see when you compare the two that they do look very similar to one another. All right. So that brings us up to step 17, which is on the bottom of page 9 in our handout. It says, next I found an image of a river which was larger than 900 pixels wide and resized it to get it into the 100 pixel by 200 pixels in height. Okay, then I added a header tag as well as an image tag. The alt attribute displays, etc., what we wanted it to see. And it says you can choose your own image if you want to do so. So in other words, what I want to do is I want to first come in and put in my header tag. So let's get back to our document, shall we? Whoops, sorry. And let's get back here, and inside of our div, let's put in a header tag. And inside of that header tag, we're going to put in our image tag. But first, let's look for an image. All right, the easiest way to do this is to go out to Google Images. And under Google, so go to google.com and click on Images. And he wants something of a river. And you'll notice that a lot of these, here's 1200 by 900. The first number is the width. So let's see if we can actually find something that's 900 pixels wide. How about this? River, 900 pixels wide. All right. And, well, there's one that's 900 pixels wide. 900 by 250, that isn't too bad. Let's do this. Let's right mouse click on this and copy the image address. And we will put that image address right inside of our image tag. So image source equals, and we'll put it right in there like that. Now that's really big, bad, and ugly. Okay, a lot more stuff than we need. I've never seen one that's quite that big, to be honest with you, but that's okay. All right, so we've got all of that stuff put in there. Again, more than we need, but we'll live with it. All right, and then I'm going to say after that, width equals 900, height equals 250, and alt equal river scene. Call it whatever we like. All right, and then I will end that. Okay, then let's do a file, save all, and let's take a look and admire what we've done. Okay, so there is our river scene, but we are told next from Brad's instructions here to go to our CSS file, and what we want to say in here is header img, which means only images that are inside of the header. We want to give it a border radius of 10 pixels. And again, we want to do the same thing for Mozilla and Firefox. So we can do this. All right. So let's save that. File, save all. And we will go back to our index file and we'll again live preview this. All right, and hopefully you can see the whole thing now has the rounded effect on it. Okay? All right, next we are to add a navigation tag for navigation and an unordered list to display this in line. So if you don't understand what that means, just please bear with me for a moment. We'll go back here into brackets, and after our header, we're going to put in another kind of tag, which is a nav tag, nav short for navigation. And in there, we're going to put in an unordered list, which will have 4 list items in it. So I'm just going to grab this and copy it 4 times. All right, so the first one will say a href equal index.html, and that will end up becoming our home page in just a moment. The next one we are to call according to this. A href equal blog.html. And that will end up being our blog. That home tag, I want that to be small o. Our third one will be resume. .html. And that will hold our resume. I'm not sure what's wrong with that. Whoops. Don't know what happened there. All right, and finally, contact. right. And next, what we want to do is we want to add some more CSS to this, because right now, if you look at it, so let's do a file, save, and let's live preview this. And it's not going to look very good. Okay, I'm just telling you. There, look, there it is. And I got to fix that resume because that looks a little funky, but I'll fix that. So what happened there? Hopefully that fixed it. Still did not fix it, but we'll have to look at that. Okay. equals resume.html ended. I think that's the way we want it to look. I'm trying to figure out why that's not the same color as the other ones. And I think that's why. There we go. File, save all. We'll again live preview this. Okay. Well, it still is funky. One more time. Well, what do you know? That's the way it's supposed to look. All right. So I am going over, I'm still on step 20. So if you are following along in the handout, I'm on this page that's got stuff all by itself right there. So I'm on page 13 of 20. So I want to put all this stuff in here. Unfortunately, he put it in as a graphic, which is fine, so I'll have to add it myself. It's probably a good thing because then you have to add it too. All right, so let's jump back in here and let's jump back into our style file. And after our header image, okay, nav li, which is for our list items, we want to display them inline, which means that rather than being on separate lines, they'll all be on the same line. Padding 0, 3 pixels. 0, 0, fine. Border right 2 pixels, solid green. Now, since I used a different color scheme than Brad did, mine might end up looking a little crummy, but that's okay. So let's jump back and let's preview what we've just done. Then we'll add the rest of the stuff. Should at least all be on the same line now, hopefully. There we go. So home, resume, blog, resume, and contact, good. Let me close a few of these here. All right. And let's go back into our style file. And after our LI, we want to do the unordered list itself. And we want the font size to be 20. Okay. And what that's going to do, I think I can run the preview right from here. At least I'm going to try to. It should make it bigger than it was previously. So those words are now bigger. Okay, that's how it was. This is how it is. Okay. All right. Then nav A, which is all the links, we want text decoration none. And what that is going to do is turn off the underlining. Now you can see the underlining has been turned off. Okay. Next, we want nav A. These are called pseudo classes. So if we visited a link, we want its color to be purple. Again, I'm using Brad's color scheme here, which is just fine. Nav A, when we're hovering over it, we then want it to be underlined. And we want it to be green. And then finally, when it's active, we want its color to be red. All right, what does all that stuff mean? Well, let's do a file, save all, and let's again live preview this. All right, notice what happens when we put our mouse and we click. See how it gets red? That's the active. All right. The only page we have is the home page, and that's why that one is purple. The other ones will not go in purple. So it now looks like what you see in step 20 in the document. And step 20 is on page 14. All right, so that's where we are. So let's continue on. All right, I'm at 17 minutes already. So I'm going to break this up into yet a third demo. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages to go. All right, and it'll take a while because as I'm doing this, I also want to go over the stuff that's in here, and I want to actually key in the information myself. All right, so I'm going to make this a part 2, and I'll start that up very shortly.